I started thinking about why bushcraft and survival have become so popular lately.
I know, my wife tells me all the time.
Quit thinking because you're going to break something.
I can't ever catch a break.
So I decided to do a little research. I wanted to know if bushcraft and survival were just some sort of fad, or has it become a way of life?
Throughout this video, I'm going to define bushcraft, and I'm going to explain how it differs from survival. This video should give you a deeper understanding of bushcraft and survival. Hey, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that bell. Hey, and while you're at it, whack that like button. Let me know that you like this video, and I'll keep bringing you some great outdoors content. Now, on my search to better understand bushcraft, I wrote down a series of questions.
Beginning with, why has bushcraft become so popular? Throughout the United States, survival schools and bushcraft courses are popping up everywhere. Bushcraft and survival have turned into a multi-million-dollar industry. But why? Well, it appears that nearly 4 million Americans now classify themselves as survivalists or bushcrafters. Now keep in mind, this number is just in the United States. Of the nearly 4 million people, they made up a predominantly Generation X, who have somehow transformed bushcraft from a hobby to a lifestyle. Even major television networks are cashing in on the trend with popular shows such as Survivor, Naked and Afraid, Alone. These TV shows stir up interest and give the viewer a window into a simplistic life in the wild.
Now this leaves us with another question.
What is bushcraft? Well, let's look it up in the good old dictionary. Bushcraft is defined as a skill at living in the bush. That is really a bland definition.
To break it down even further, bushcraft is simply the ability to live in the woods or a natural setting for a prolonged period without modern conveniences and relying on nature to make or provide everything that you need to survive. It's the art of being self-sufficient while relying on nature. There are no set rules, and you don't have to follow a certain recipe in order to be considered proficient. It comes down to developing an understanding with nature, being able to use natural materials to problem solve and improvise in order to create an end result.
However, my definition of bushcraft may not be enough for some people. A lot of people may ask these simple questions. Why would you want to live in the woods? Or, why would you subject yourself to miserable conditions? Well, my friends, the great outdoors is a beautiful place for you to relax from your everyday walk of life. It allows you to unwind within nature. Basically, you're able to unplug in order to recharge.
Hey, what's not to love about that?
And as far as subjecting ourselves to misery, it's always a choice, and it depends on your point of view.
Bushcraft is a modern term to an ancient way of life. It was something that those people who lived in the wilderness had to learn in order to live off what was available to them. If you lived in nature, you had to be familiar with every aspect of it.
Now that we have broadened our definition of bushcraft, how does bushcraft compare to survival?
Hey, that's a great question. Let's take a look.
Simply put, survival is about unexpected emergency situations, keeping yourself alive and getting back to the safety of civilization. Bushcraft, on the other hand, is about using nature to sustain yourself for long periods in the wild, most often by choice.
Survival is typically a 72-hour period after a man-made or natural disaster, some type of accident or a medical emergency, and you need to make it back to civilization. Bushcraft is typically opposite. Basically, you left civilization to survive and thrive in the wild.
Now that we have a clearer understanding of bushcraft, it leads us to a very important question. How does bushcraft differ from primitive camping?
I thought long and hard about this one. Both primitive camping and bushcraft are very closely related.
Some people say that they are synonymous for each other, or are basically the same thing.
In my opinion, bushcraft is closely related, but primitive camping allows for you to bring more modern conveniences so you can enjoy your camping trip.
On the other hand, bringing fewer conveniences and equipment with you makes you rely more on nature. Everything that you need can be made from the landscape for use in your camp, such as shelter, bedding, cordage, cooking appliances, cooking utensils.
I've mapped out future videos, and we are going to take a much deeper dive into bushcraft.
In future videos, I'm going to be giving a very in-depth look into gear, shelter, fire, and water. And each one of these items, I'm going to break them down into very in-depth aspects of their bushcraft uses.